Welcome back to our continuing coverage of the crisis now in Syria with Russia. Well, the White House press secretary Josh Earnest was asked whether or not Vladimir Putin is running circles around President Obama just a few moments ago. And here's what he said.
What you say to people who feel like the president is being outwitted, out-strategized, even outsmarted by Vladimir Putin?
Well, that doesn't reflect the facts. The fact of the matter is the Russians are responding from a position of weakness. They are seeing the client state that they have maintained inside of Syria progress over the course of 5 years from being a relatively stable state where they could exercise significant influence to a country that's torn apart by chaos and that risks the status of the leader that they have supported there for years.
Chris Plant is a syndicated radio talk show host and joins me now. Leslie Marshall, Fox News contributor, also syndicated radio talk show host. Chris, let me start with you. Josh Earnest just said that the Russians are responding from a position of weakness. Do you agree with that?
Vladimir Putin is running the table on Barack Obama. He's taken Iran, in effect, Iraq and Syria from the Mediterranean with his air bases there now, the warm water ports in the eastern Mediterranean, all the way over to Afghanistan and Central Asia. He owns it. It's his. We've got Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, the UAE, and not much else, Kuwait in that region. Barack Obama is being outsmarted at every turn. He's being undone. The Soviet Empire is being rebuilt before our very eyes. We are weak and they are strong. This is all obvious. Look to Ukraine, as KT was saying. Also, look to the Baltic states for some kind of movement there against the weaker, smaller NATO allies. Listen, Putin is on the march and Barack Obama is not up to the task.
Leslie, do you agree with that?
No, not at all. Although some would say that what we just heard from Defense Secretary Ash Carter was wishy-washy, and it would seem the United States was blindsided, even though they were
he has an impossible
alerted.
position, though. Leslie, let me just say, Ash Carter has an impossible position trying to defend what's going on here right now.
I agree.
But let me get back to the point about the leader of the free world, President Barack Obama. What is his role right now? Because his whole policy for 7 years has been disengagement from the Middle East. And what is he going to do now? Because it appears that Putin is running the show.
Well, it may appear that Putin's running the show. He's running the show from a position of lies and stupidity, because the outcome will be more civil war in Syria, more people who will become ISIS sympathizers, and a larger crisis, refugee crisis, that not just affects the Middle East, obviously affects the EU and eventually the United States. Honestly, the strength in this will be how the president responds. And quite frankly, to say that Putin and his troops are stronger, I think is an insult to the American military. If you look at their position with their strikes from the air against ISIS.
We're not talking about the military.
The United States.
I have complete faith in the United States military. I am not talking about the military. We lost Leslie. Unfortunately, I have 30 seconds left, Chris. Respond to what Leslie was just saying.
Well, and again, you're correct. It's not about the military. This is about strength versus weakness. We are weak and they are strong. We are having the table run on us right before our very eyes. The world is a very different place today than it was yesterday. And Sir Edmund Burke said, all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. And for the last 6 or 7 years, there have been a whole lot of good men doing nothing.
All right. Chris Plant and Leslie Marshall, who we just lost on the satellite there, thanks much.